Nowadays, the term Iron Man refers to athletes who never or rarely ever missed a game. But back in the early 1900s, that nickname belonged to a literal Iron Man as he worked in the iron foundry during the off-season. This is the story of Joe Iron Man McGinnity, one of the greatest pitchers of the early 1900s. He also became famous for pitching on back-to-back days and for completing both games of doubleheaders. Joseph Jerome McGinnity was born on March 19, 1871, in Cornwall Township, Illinois. Joe's father died when he was young, forcing him and his brothers to work in the coal mines. Given the transient nature of coal mining, the family also moved a lot and worked in several mines. In Decatur, Illinois, he began playing baseball with other coal miners in their leisure time. He began as an outfielder but switched to pitching in 1888. He pitched in semi-professional games in the area, even as he remained a coal miner. He played for the local team in Krebs, Oklahoma. He also managed and organized games. This resulted in the game's increased popularity. Because of this, he was referred to as the father of Oklahoma baseball. In 1893, he debuted in the minor leagues with the Montgomery Colts of the Southern League. When the team folded, he moved to the Kansas City Blues of the Western League. He had a combined 21-29 win-loss record for the season, with more walks than strikeouts. Apparently, the cause of this performance was his own catcher, with whom he had a personal feud. He would tip McGinnity's pitches to the opposing batters. Because of his struggles in Kansas City, McGinnity requested and got released by the team. He stepped away from the minors and resumed work as a coal miner. He also became a bartender and opened a saloon. But he didn't stop pitching. He joined several local teams and developed a slow curve, which became a key part of his later arsenal. He defeated the National League's Baltimore Orioles in an exhibition game. Incredibly, earlier in the day, he also defeated a minor league team. This attracted the attention of the Peoria Distillers, and in 1898, McGinnity returned to the minors. In 1899, McGinnity finally debuted in the major leagues at age 28 with the Baltimore Orioles. During that time, he met two future Hall of Famers whose intensity rubbed on him, John McGraw and Wilbert Robinson. His debut was successful as he had a 9.1 WAR and led the league with 28 wins. Despite his and the team's success, in 1900, the National League voted to contract the Orioles out of the majors. McGinnity transferred to the Brooklyn Superbass. Once more, he had a superb season, leading the league in wins again with 28 and in win-loss percentage. In 1901, the American League was formed and McGinnity switched teams. He turned down an offer from Brooklyn and joined the reincarnated Baltimore Orioles for about 40% less money. The main consideration was the Orioles were now managed and partly owned by John McGraw, his former manager. In 1901, he had an 8.1 WAR, winning 26 games and leading the league with 39 complete games and 382 innings pitched. Midway through the 1902 season, the team folded because of financial reasons. McGraw and McGinnity moved to the New York Giants. Despite the uncertainty and turmoil, McGinnity had another solid season. He had a combined 9.0 WAR and won 21 games. In 1903, McGinnity had probably the best season of his career. He led the league in WAR with 12.2. McGinnity also had league-leading totals of 31 wins, 55 games pitched, and 44 complete games. He also set the National League records for most innings pitched at 434 and most games started at 48. Both records still stand today. That season, he fully earned his nickname of Iron Man. He pitched both ends of a doubleheader 3 times in 1 month. Incredibly, he won all 6 of these starts. According to the New York Times, in one of the doubleheaders, McGinnity seemed still fresh and could have started a 3rd game if necessary. That season, he set a major league record with legendary teammate Christy Mathewson. McGinnity and Mathewson combined for 73% of the team's wins for the season. In 1904, McGinnity once more led the league with a 9.6 WAR, 35 wins, a .814 win-loss percentage, 1.61 ERA, 51 games, 9 shutouts, 5 saves, and 408 innings pitched. He also set an incredible MLB record that season. McGinnity recorded his 10th win of the season in just 21 team games. Mathewson and McGinnity powered the Giants to the pennant that year. Unfortunately, the Giants refused to play the Boston Americans in the World Series. In those days, the pennant-winning teams arranged the contests, not the leagues themselves. This refusal to play in the World Series had backlash, and by the 1905 season, it was mandatory for the league's champions to play in the postseason. In 1905, McGinnity won 21 games as once more the Giants won the National League pennant. Facing them in the World Series were the Philadelphia Athletics, led by Hall of Fame pitchers Eddie Plank and Chief Bender. The 1905 series is best known for probably the greatest single-series pitching performance ever. Christy Mathewson pitched 3 complete game shutouts as the Giants won the series 4-1. McGinnity had a 1-1 record in the series. Incredibly, like Mathewson, he had a 0.00 ERA in the series, though the Athletics scored 3 unearned runs in his Game 2 loss. In 1906, McGinnity led the league again in wins with 27, and the team won 96 games. However, the Giants lost the pennant to the Chicago Cubs, who set the major league record for most wins with 116. The following season, McGinnity went 18-18 and allowed a hit per inning for the first time since 1901. In 1908, McGinnity began the season sick. He finished strong, however, with an 11-7 record, 2.27 ERA, and a league-leading 5 saves. The Giants released him at the end of the season. This marked the end of arguably the decade's best pitching duo. McGinnity pitched just 10 years in the majors. He had a 59.0 WAR, won 246 games, had a 2.66 ERA, 24 saves, and a WHIP of 1.188. He led the league in wins 5 times, in games 6 times, in innings pitched 4 times, and in ERA once. After his major league career, his career took an unusual turn. Unlike most players who simply played in the minors, McGinnity invested in several minor league teams. He purchased the Newark Indians of the Eastern League. He later sold his stake in the Indians and purchased the Tacoma Tigers of the Northwestern League. He was thus an owner-pitcher, which is rare in baseball. After he sold his stakes in the team, McGinnity continued to pitch, eventually winning close to 500 games as a professional pitcher. He pitched till he was 54, proving that he was indeed baseball's original Iron Man. Fortunately for McGinnity, he pitched for 10 seasons, meeting the league's minimum for Hall of Fame consideration, and in 1946, Iron Man Joe McGinnity was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. McGinnity died on November 14, 1929. He was 58. Thank you for watching. Do you think Joe McGinnity still deserves the nickname Iron Man? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing. It helps immensely.